Hey Clashers, there is a new interview between Judoslav and Supercell where they're talking about different topics like Clash merge, as well the new Netflix show for Clash of Clans, and on top of that as well the collaborations within the game, like with Haaland last year or the WWE this year. I will break down all of those different talking points for you and as well share my point of view and as well my opinion about a couple of those things. But if you want to watch the entire interview on Judostar's channel, I will link that down below in the description for you. But let's get things started with the first talking point, and that is the collaborations we had so far in the game. The first one is with Haaland from last year. And interestingly enough, it was the team of Haaland approaching Supercell if there could be a collaboration in any different form, which I think is super interesting. I mean, Haaland is a big Clash of Clans fan, but having him approach Supercell is a really cool fun fact. But the other fun fact is that it was the other way around with the WWE, which means Supercell did know that a lot of the superstars in the WWE are huge Clash of Clans fans because they're sharing that in like live streams or in social media. So they were approaching them if the collaboration would make sense. And I mean, we both had those in the game, and I would say they both were a lot of fun, especially for those who are fans of like either Haaland or WWE, for example. Overall, it took roughly 1 year to make it to the game, which means like from the first talks to the event in the game, it took roughly 1 year, which is, well, a long preparation phase, to be honest. But, I mean, it's kind of understandable as well. But the question now is how successful were those events? First off, Supercell is apparently really happy with how those events and how those collaborations turned out. And there's obviously a couple of hard facts which they can check to see if an event was really successful or not. The obvious ones are being revenue, as well, like if returning players are making to the game, or players are returning to the game, the same as new players are starting with the game because of the event. Or, for example, as well, the player retention rate, which means like how actively are players playing the game. But sometimes those hard facts, those numbers, are not as easy to read. And what I mean by that is, for example, with the WWE event, we had right before that one of the biggest updates ever in Clash of Clans. And by biggest, I mean by the feature itself. And that was one of the biggest quality of life changes, which was the Clash Anytime feature. Which means the training times for armies in general, were completely removed. I think a lot of you still know, like a hero taking like 45 minutes to like get back to full hit points, or an army taking like 50 minutes or something crazy like that. All of that was removed within one update. And that was a huge success. I think a lot of players made it back to the game, and I think this was one of the biggest and most successful updates in a long time, when it just comes down to like how many players are making it back to the game. And that update just happened only 3 days before the WWE event, which means taking a look at things like returning players or player retention is a little bit tricky. But still, Supercell said they were overall happy with the collaboration, so that's good to know. But the interesting fun fact as well, which I found really interesting, is that they were happy with how, or they felt like that the players were happy with how the event turned out when it comes down to the event troops and as well the army camps. Now, I will be honest, that might be the loud minority, or that might be as well that is mostly the social media bubble, but at least in my comments, or as well what I've seen from Reddit and such, I've seen a lot of people complaining about the army camps. But that's the interesting thing, right? Like, there is so many more players, so if there's a small part within the community which have a strong feeling about like the army camps, for example, it just seems like that, oh yeah, this, like, all my friends feel like that's not good, then everyone apparently thinks that that's not good. And, well, I for myself thought as well, I had some mixed feelings about the army camps, let's put it that way. They were fun in the beginning, but then at some point it just was like a handicap, let's put it that way, because it benefited some ground armies or some air armies, or as well the warden charge was really limited and such. So yeah, for Legend it wasn't the greatest, I would argue, and so I can understand both sides, but apparently it was received really well based on what Supercell has seen, which I'm happy for that, to be honest. What I'm happy for as well is because Supercell has already teased that for the future, that in Legends most likely such event things are not going to be there anymore. At least that was the last tease which we have seen. But we still have to wait on how exactly the possible Legend rework is going to look like what exactly is going to be changed, but hopefully those two things which we have seen already in the past in interviews and such, which means first off, event things are not going to be in Legend, which means event troops, or if there's a core gameplay mechanic change like with the army camps, those are not going to be in Legend. The same as, like another thing from another interview, that decorations can be just toggled off, so you don't have to attack those villages with like stacked decorations and such. So those will be some great things, and if those are already only the beginning for a possible Legend rework, I'm getting more and more excited for that one. I mean, there's a couple of more things on my bucket list for a possible Legend rework, which I would like to see, but those are for sure two things which are great starting points if they are going to make it to the game. Well, let's get back to the collaborations and such, because, as I said earlier, Supercell overall was quite happy with them, and this is bringing us already to the next talking point, which is the Netflix show. This overall is, I mean, really cool. I mean, obviously, it's not really a big surprise. I love the game Clash of Clans, and seeing then that Netflix is going to turn it into a show in whatever way, I am really excited for that. I really hope that it's going to be possible maybe to even stream that and like watch it with the community or something like that, but I guess that's still something we're going to witness in the future. But all we know right now is that Netflix is actively working on it, and we're hopefully going to see something really cool in the future in the Clash of Clans show on Netflix. That is going to be amazing. As well, the next thing I would like to talk about is the merch, because everyone who might play the game already for a really long time knows in the past there was merch available sold by Supercell. But in the interview, it was quite clear that merch is not there as a revenue, like overall, like a revenue source for Supercell. That's not the main like goal or achievement there, what they're trying to accomplish with merch. Instead, they're seeing merch more as exposure for the game, the same as just making the players happy. This is why, though, they have kind of stopped it, because they feel like others can do that merch part better. And this is why we see now Clash of Clans working together with different partners to bring Clash merch back to the people. Like we have seen now the board game, we have seen as well some plushies and more things, obviously. And apparently there's something in the pipeline which we can expect. There was nothing shared what exactly in the interview, but hey, this makes me for sure excited as someone. You can see in the background, I like to collect Clash merch, so hopefully it's going to be something really, really cool in the future. But this is everything we have for Clash merch, and then there were some really, I don't know, it felt like out of place a little bit, but just some player stats. So for example, that the average Clasher is like a young adult, which makes sense. I mean, people are growing up with the game. And as well, they were talking about a really, really funny thing, which is, at some point, because the game is already so old, we could see already Clashers in the second generation. Let me know if you're already like part of that, which means with the game being so old, and let's say you, I don't know, just went out of school or to study or something, and then you created your own family. At this point, if you have started right in the beginning when Clash was launching, you could have already children which are in the age of playing games. So, I mean, that would be... That's some wild things to think about, but overall as well, that would be really cool. So seeing how that's going to change things up in the future. But that's pretty much it as well. That we're talking about some other things like players, and as well like obviously revenue is more coming from those countries where the country itself is having a bigger buy power and such. So yeah, some talking points over there. But there was one more thing which kind of caught my eye, and it was not a big talking point within the interview, but at least I am putting a lot of thought into it. But let me explain what I mean. So at the end of the interview, they were talking about the possibility of giving creators the options of being more creative in creating content. And for me, I mean, obviously as a creator and obviously trying to like do different things. I don't like to always do the same thing, like always upload strategies, even though I'm doing that a lot right now, but I'm always trying to mix things up as well with like different episodes, different videos and such. And being able to be creative is always a nice thing. So having this one sentence there, which obviously in the interview was not a big part, but for me, I kind of created like a small wish list of like what I would like to see in the game. Not just for myself as a creator, but just as a player as well, giving many opportunities to be creative in the game. First off, like something like the sandbox mode, where you can create crazy villages, attack them, pretty much create your own challenge-based layouts, and have as well maybe the community coming up with future challenges. And you have like kind of like in Brawl Stars, the map maker, and then we have the same thing in Clash of Clans, where then you can vote for your winner, and the winner is going to be the challenge for the next month or such things. That would be so cool, right? Like, all of those things would be so cool. Obviously, we could use that as well as content creators to create content, or Carpet Finny could create goblin mazes and such. I mean, just this little sentence, there is so many options what they could do in the future. And please remember here, this is me going crazy and having like a wish list. This is nothing Supercell said that this is going to make it to the game. This is just me pretty much saying, hey, I hope such things are going to make it to the game. On top of that, I would like to see something in the game like after an attack, you can see how much damage was dealt by what exactly, and like by what cannon, by what hero, and so on. The town hall, how much damage did the town hall do and such. All those things, that will be amazing. As well, they can be used in a creative way, so I just hope that the future is giving and bringing more such features, and as well quality of life changes and improvements, which, I mean, can be turned into many different things. Useful things for players, but as well as creative things for creators. I mean, that's just what I'm hoping for at this point. But yeah, really, it was just one sentence, to be honest, in the interview. But for me, it was just like a small spark, really, of like my brain going, okay, I would like to see this, this, this. Let me know if there's any specific things you would like to see, or if you just don't really care about that and not going as crazy as I am when I heard that. But either way, that's pretty much the interview. There was not too much to it, to be honest. I would have liked to see maybe some more numbers, even though I know collaborations and such is not as easy to share. Yeah, but overall, would have liked even a bit more insight maybe, but in the end, a really nice interview. There's going to be another interview, like, yeah, Judo was teasing it at the end of the interview, and oh my, I mean, if this is going to happen, and all of those things are going to be answered of what is in teasered, which I think is going to be released next week, but Judo will let us know, I guess. That interview might be the craziest one, talking about like possible like future updates, features, and such. I'm excited. I hope you guys as well. And if you want to make sure that you're always up to date when it comes into Clash of Clans, make sure that you're following this channel, and you will be always up to date. Thank you so much for watching the video. I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next Clash video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.